We probably just. Just wait. Just wait. No.
All right, please stand for the pledge. I forgot to do that yesterday too. I pledge allegiance of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, now we're back on track. Macy, lunch or no lunch? Macy, lunch or no lunch? Go downstairs, go grab Bo, and make sure that sheet gets changed. Well, they'll run into each other.
Let's go with the other way.
No, there's nothing down there.
They connect.
Yeah, but until you guys are in high school, you won't know why you'd want to go that way anyway.
That's how everyone. Because it takes longer to get.
No, it's got other things. You'll figure it out when you're in high school.
I'm scared. I'm terrified now.
That's why you can't figure it out right now. All right, Ben, hit the door. Worksheets, get them out.
I'd like to bring them.
One of you did yes. Yeah. Did
Oh, found it.
just turn to my student loan.
And my member have it.
You looked it on Teams. I saw you looked at it.
Oh, that one.
Yeah.
I did it. I printed it. Yeah, I printed it.
I turned it in. I saw it. All right. Since we did it all in class, I individually went to every one of you. We talked about it. I guess I shouldn't have to ask, are there any questions?
Yeah.
All right. Just remember when you have 3 or more, period 4, they got done very quickly, and then we decided to do 4 numbers at once. But it doesn't matter whether you have 3, 4, 5, or 6 numbers. Eventually you will, next year in high school, occasionally you'll have that many numbers. You have to go left to right for addition and subtraction. It doesn't matter whether it's positive or negative, you go left to right for addition and subtraction. All right, we're going to finish up with our subtraction. So today we're going to go over that because it's been a while since we've seen subtraction. So I'll go over the rules, not quickly, but it is a second review. And then tomorrow we finish up. I'm going to give you a combination of addition subtraction tomorrow. So tomorrow is technically it's the 3rd day of subtraction. I don't ever really need 3 days for subtraction. So I use that last day to mix up the addition subtraction together. There's one big long worksheet with the answers, and you figure out on tomorrow whether you got this or whether you got big problems. Right? The kids that got this still get probably 99% of them right. And the ones that get wrong, like, oh, I see what I did wrong. What I'm concerned about are the kids that literally, somebody's out there, I'm sure in this class, you're just kind of sitting there and for a fact, you don't know what you're doing. Everyone else seems to be getting it right, and you get a little bit embarrassed and you're not willing to admit that you got a problem. And then all of a sudden that problem continues. Like I said, we're going to have positive and negative numbers from now on. Like, I don't know what's your last math class, whether you go to college or not, but you will be dealing with positive and negative numbers from this day forward. Like every single time you get a math problem, it's kind of a positive and negative number. It's the way the world works. Sometimes you add, sometimes you subtract sometimes. Those are positive and negative numbers. So your ability to add, subtract, multiply, and divide are critical of getting anything right from now on. The multiplication division, you would think that's the more challenging stuff. It's actually the easy stuff. Nobody forgets those rules. But the rules for adding and subtracting, absolutely positively, and yes, I'm making a big deal. Some of you are like pros at this right now. You see it all the time. That will be the most common mistake that you have in math, is that you do the math and you screw up the addition subtraction. It really isn't the multiplication or division, it's always the addition subtraction. So here we go. Oh, I gotta hand out sheets, don't I? All right. Four. All right. So when I taught this class originally, that was like 3 weeks ago, almost. No, 2 weeks ago. Well, one for spring break, and then we did subtraction when we left. So that was 2 weeks ago. I said that there is no such thing as subtraction. I was kind of being cheeky about that. There is subtraction, but the reality is that we don't actually have rules for subtraction. We only have rules for addition. And so how we handle subtraction is we just simply turn subtraction into addition. Simply lunch or no lunch. We simply turn subtraction into addition, and then we follow the addition rules. All right, so let's see what that looks like. Like I said, I'm going to go over this not super quick like yesterday, but fairly quickly. By the way, I don't know if you read the newspaper or watched the news last night. There's something going on with CMAS.
What would that be?
What is C?
More to follow. This schedule might not be true. Okay. It's going to be true for this week, next week, but this might change. The principal's pulling her hair out because they made some changes. All right, it will be a worksheet sitting right here. There are 20 questions.
Can we get it right now?
Nope. Why? Oh, I screwed up. Why are there two? Oh, I see. I see what I did. No, I didn't screw up. All right, I'll explain it when I hand it out. All right, subtracting integers. I just made this big, long, I don't know, drawn out speech about how there's no such thing as subtraction, there's only addition, and that's true. So your goal today and tomorrow is when you're given a subtraction problem, like the ones in front of you right now, is to be able to understand it actually turns into an addition problem and then handle it. So the issue is not the addition rules. You just showed me yesterday that, like, I don't think there was anyone in here that one-on-one, when I said, what are the rules? You told me the rules. Nobody screwed it up. In fact, most of you are done pretty quickly. So you know the addition rules. Well, you just now got to do one extra step, which is turn that subtraction problem into addition problem. All right, so here's how it's done. Subtraction. Subtraction is a famous saying. Subtraction is the same as adding the opposite. We just simply turn subtraction into addition. We don't add the number, we add its opposite. And that's how we turn subtraction into addition. So we rewrite any subtraction problem, whether in our head or physically. Some of you are going to need to literally physically change it in front of your face so you can deal with it. Others of you can do this whole process in your head. I will let you decide which method works for you. But we're going to rewrite subtraction as addition. You'll see me actually physically rewrite it. And then you simply follow the addition rules, right? So there is no subtraction, there's only addition. You follow the addition rules. Just to reiterate, the two rules for addition, since that's the only rules we need now, are either same signs or different or opposite, right? Sometimes I say opposite, different, same thing. So you're either adding two positives or two negatives, or you're adding a positive and a negative or a negative and a positive. And remember the two rules, we're not writing this down. The signs are the same. We're talking about for addition, not subtraction. Right? If the signs are the same, you simply add the two numbers, and if you're adding positives, the answer is positive. If you're adding negatives, the answer is negatives. When the signs are different, you subtract the two numbers. And you ask yourself, did I have more positives or more negatives? You guys did fine on that yesterday. I'm leaving out this word absolute value because at this moment right now, you guys have got that. You're like, okay, yeah, just look at the two numbers. I'm either adding the two numbers or I'm subtracting the two numbers. So the only thing we have left today is turning those subtraction problems into addition. So here's how it works. Hey, look, subtraction, subtraction, subtraction. Before, yesterday, all of our problems had a plus, plus, a plus. Okay? That's what we're going to do. We're going to turn these subtraction problems back into addition problems. We're not going to add the second number. We're going to add its opposite. That's how it's done. So how does that work? Physically or in your mind, this is what you do. You go to the first subtraction symbol. Sometimes you can look on your paper. Sometimes there'll be two of them. When you subtract a negative, there's two negative signs next to each other, literally like this. Sometimes we put one in parentheses. We're always going to go to the first one. And I'm not talking about this one. I'm talking about the one between the two numbers. Everybody see that? I'm not talking about this one. I'm talking about one between the two numbers. There's either going to be one or there might be two. You'll see that later. We're going to go to the first one. We're just simply going to literally turn it into a plus. For me, I just think about it as erasing it and replacing it with a plus. Then we take the opposite of that number right there. Well, the opposite of 2 is -2, and now it looks like what we did yesterday. Jasmine, same or different signs? Then we follow the different rule. We subtract the two numbers, big minus small. 7 minus 2 is 5. Jasmine, more positives, more negatives. And that's how it's done. So do you want me to write it out like this? Well, some of you maybe yes, some of you maybe no. It's up to you. Can you do that in your head? Or can you get confused in your head? Right? There's kind of like two types of students. By the time you get to high school, nobody actually writes any of this out. They just say, what was the original problem? 7 minus 2 is 5. Like, well, I didn't need your silly rule to do that. I could have done that. I know it's 7 minus 2. But remember, if it's a rule, it's got to work for even the simple ones. 3 minus 8, right? In your head or on your paper, we get rid of the first subtraction symbol that's between the two numbers. We get rid of it. We write the first one, we change it to a plus. We write the opposite of the second number. The opposite of 8 is -8, and then we follow the rules. Lily, same or different signs?
Different.
So add or subtract? Subtract. Big minus small gives you, okay, more negatives, more positives. I mean, when I rarely, and I did the same thing, Miss Garland's heard this probably like 600 times, right? Rarely when I asked a student using that script, anybody ever get it wrong? Yet somebody will go from the original problem, 3 minus 8, and somebody will put 5. I'll say, no, that's not right. And then they're like, well, I don't know what I'm doing. And then all I simply say is, same or different signs, add or subtract, more positive, more negative, everybody gets it right. I guess the point I'm trying to make is, if that script works, use it. Some of you are like, well, I don't need that script. I know the answer immediately. Great, that was me as well, too. I didn't need the teacher's script. I just kind of figured it out. Last one, we don't get rid of the first minus, we get the first minus in between the two numbers. So I'm not getting rid of this minus sign, I'm getting rid of this one. Okay? I rewrite the first number and I write the opposite of the second number. Same or different signs? Add or subtract? Add the two numbers.
24.
Were we adding positives or negatives? So the answer is -24. Done. Ready? All right, box number, what are we on? Box number 3. All right, let's do box number 3. Here we go. I need your silly rules to do 17 minus 10. The answer is
7.
all right. Well, if you want to use the rules, you can, but obviously you should be able to do 17 minus 10. If you want to follow the rules, we get rid of the first subtraction sign between the two numbers. Rewrite the first one, change it to addition, write the opposite of the second number, that would be -10. Hey, look, different signs. That means subtract. Big minus small, 17 minus 10 is 7. We have more positives than negatives, and the answer is 7. Second one, the first sign between the two numbers, if it's a negative, we get rid of it. Right, 13, the opposite of 18 is -18. Keegan, same or different signs?
Different.
So add or subtract? You told me they were different,
Add.
so literally all you're going to do is read.
Minus.
I'm going to subtract. Big minus small. So 18 minus 13.
I don't know. I'm tired.
You can do this. 18 minus 13.
Why?
Okay. More negatives, more positives.
More negatives.
Told you could do this. All right. Okay. Felicity, talk me through it, the whole thing. Which one? The first one or the second one? Second one. Okay. And it's technically the first one between the two numbers. All right, so replace it with a plus, now what? Right, the opposite of whatever that number is there. If it's positive, it becomes negative. If it's negative, it becomes positive. Okay? Same or different signs? Means to do what? Okay, so absolutely positively, there will be 7th graders and occasionally up to about Christmas time, 8th graders that's the issue right there. They're like, okay, I know there's rules. I know the process. It just hasn't stuck with me. If it hasn't stuck with you on your paper somewhere, you need to write these two. You don't get to put all of these words, but you need to write that somewhere on the top of your paper on every single, like I said, every single problem we're going to do from now on is going to have a positive and a negative. Every problem. And anytime you got to add or subtract, you got to have these rules. I just put the word same and a plus, different and a minus. What's up?
So for the third one,
Well, let's finish it first.
no, it's not the answer.
Oh.
So you have -12 and 18. I have -12 and
Oh, did I write the wrong thing?
Yeah.
All right. Felicity's doing this one. So same or different signs? So add or subtract. Like I said, I just put the word same plus different subtract. And that's usually all you need. Okay, whatever you guys got for your number is your number. Mine was 12 and 18. I'm getting -30. What did you guys get?
6.
All right.
-30.
All right. 6 is the answer. For yours, not mine. Every year somebody tells me this and I've forgotten to change it every.
Are you gonna
single-
change it right now?
Probably not.
Yeah.
Because the problem is it happens right at the start of class. So any mistake I make, I'm like, oh, I'll remember that. And then class is over, I forget.
Write it down on a sticky note.
I should. All right. Now here comes the ones where there's a bunch of negatives, right? All right, so here we go. Remember, we never change the first negative. We change the first negative between the two numbers, just the first one. Malachi, tell me what to do. And we're going to change the first minus sign to a, okay? What's the opposite of -2?
2.
So therefore the answer is? Because 7 plus 2 is 5. Okay, smarty pants, what's the rule for when there's two negative signs? Somebody's already said it a couple
Makes
times.
a positive.
Turns out that when you have between the two numbers, not outside, but between the two numbers, if you ever have two negative signs next to each other, following this rule, it turns into 1 plus.
Or you can,
These are the ones that you like.
or you can flip them.
That's what he said. All right. So second one, once again, I'm not worried about what's here. I'm worried about these two. I changed the first one, changed that minus to a plus. Well, the opposite of -8 is +8. Two minus signs turn into one positive sign when they're between each other. Okay. Last one, this first one doesn't change at all. Oh, by the way, 3 plus 8.
11.
Last one is the one that we have problems with, right? We don't change that minus sign. We change the first one between the two numbers. Or you remember the smarty pants rules, which is
Two negatives.
just two negatives make one positive, right? Yeah. So we rewrite the first one, -4. Change that to a plus. Opposite of -20 is, or remember that two minus signs turn into one positive. We don't have same signs here. We got different signs. That means subtract. Big minus small gives me 16, and we have more negatives and more positives. Therefore, the answer is 16. Now the person's supposed to say, Mr. C, I'm really lost. You're confusing me. No one's going to say that? Okay, well, that's good, I hope, right? But usually there's that one kid that just doesn't want to say something, okay? All right, make sure you hit me up for essay if you're having problems. All right, box 4. We're running through this very quickly today. Is there a back? No, there's not a back. There's only a front. We're almost done. All right. Box number 4. We don't ever change the first thing. We change the first minus sign you come to. Okay? We change that first minus sign to a plus. The opposite of -10 is +10. Or smarty pants rule, two negatives turn into one positive. By the way, most people use the smarty pants rule. Like when you get some fluidity, some fluency with this, right? Most people just say, oh, two minus signs turn into one positive. Hey, look, same side. 17 plus 10 is
27.
here. Talk me through it. Go.
The second subtraction sign we do into addition.
The first subtraction one.
And then the opposite of -18 is +15.
Same or different signs.
Same.
Therefore, you're just adding those two numbers together.
Now you get 30.
These are the ones everyone likes because when there's two minus signs, it just turns to addition. Okay, and the last one, go.
So you have -12, well, it's just -6.
See, at some point, people learn it so quickly or understand it that deeply that they don't even think about what they're doing. They just spit out the answer. If I ask you 5, I know. If I ask you 5 plus 3, there might be a couple of you go 6, 7, 8. And most of you, 5 plus 3, you just say the answer is 8. And I say, well, how do you know it's 8? And you're like, well, what do you mean? How do I know it's 8? It's 8. You can't even describe it. Eventually, these will turn into that for you as well. Oh, yeah, that's just a 6. Why is this 6? Well, we turn the first minus sign between the two numbers into a positive. The opposite of negative 18 is positive 18. We have opposite signs. Subtraction, big minus small gives me 6. More positives and negatives, positive 6. And you notice that's kind of what Caden said. I said, explain it. He started to talk about it. It was like, the answers are 6. Because it becomes bothersome for people to explain a simple task to them. This isn't simple to some people, and some people are still having to think through the process, and that's fine. Like I said, by Christmas time, 8th grade, rarely do I have anyone that's like in 8th grade that's like, I don't know what to do. But I will have students that, you'll show up to next year, 8th grade math. This is chapter 1 stuff, by the way. They'll literally give you the same class next year, 8th grade, chapter 1. But they will do this all in like 2 days instead of 6 days. But yeah, there'll be kids that until about Christmas time somewhat struggle with this. The only ones that, it's not a trip, will trip you up. It's just that everything could be negative. I have 3 minus signs. That's the max you can get with 2 numbers is 3 minus signs. But it's no big deal. In fact, it's just like the last one we just did, right? The first minus sign between the 2 numbers turns to a positive. Rewrite the first one. The opposite of negative 2 is a positive 2. All of these will turn into, look, opposite signs. Every one of these. Okay. Smarty pants way is, well, these 2 minuses right here turn into 1 positive. Occasionally, I'll get a kid that's like sort of slightly not paying attention and like, I don't know, he said something about 2 minus signs turn into 1 positive. And then they think that because that went away, that you're right, the opposite of 2 is negative 2. Occasionally, I'll have a kid do that. So remember that the 2 minus signs turn into 1 positive, but for some reason, they'll want to make that second number also negative. Right? That's true in 7 minus 10. The first minus sign turns into a plus, and then we take the opposite of that, negative. That's true for that case, but not true for this one. Why? Because there were originally 2 minus signs. Here's there originally just 1 minus sign. All right. Regardless of all that, that turns into opposite signs. Big minus small, 7 minus 2 is 5. There's more negatives than positives. I know yesterday I talked about occasionally I'll get a kid that when I say more negatives and more positives, they're not really sure what that means. Remember, positives are always bigger than any negative. So some kids will think, do you mean that? You mean like value-wise? No, I don't mean values. I meant like the coin method. How many coins? You got 7 negative coins, 2 positive coins. You got more negative coins. The answer is going to be negative. Questions on anything we've done? You ready for the worksheet?
Yes.
All right, let's do the worksheet. All right, I pressed the wrong button when I printed this off. Usually I say, give me an answer sheet. This time it gave me the answers in context. All that means is they rewrite the problem and they write the answer underneath of it. All right, here's what you need to do. You need to do the problems, not like 20 at a time and then flip it over like, whoa, I got 10 of those wrong, right? You need to do maybe like 2 at a time, flip it over. You do 1 at a time, then you already see the answer for the next one and you kind of like, okay, I already know the answer is -5, and you don't go that full thought process of this. So I want you to do 2 at a time, then flip it over and the answers are right underneath the problem. Questions? All right, Pierce wants to hand these out. I know what he was asking. Yes, Malachi. Yes, I'm coming around with a basket. Well, actually, Malachi's coming around with a basket. Grab your homework. Make sure I get it before the end of the day.
I looked it online.
All right. Let's see. I'm going to leave this up on the board here. These are the rules. Like I said, some of you may want to write some cut down rules of same sign means add, opposite signs or different signs means subtract. Anybody need some help right at the very start? Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I need some help. Math help, not that kind of help. Clearly.
Yes, like you're highlighting.
Yes. Why do you highlight?
Let's stop talking about hair control products and let's get to do some math. I don't know. Well, you were talking pretty loud.
It's a really good.
Not eavesdropping at you and
I agree. Thank you. You know what you're doing?
I have a question.
All right.
So the -2 minus
So
negative
whenever you see subtraction, we rewrite the first number, rewrite it.
three right as a positive.
No, the first one always stays, whatever it is, it always stays. We rewrite the first minus sign between two numbers as a positive, and we write the opposite of the second, the opposite of -8. Same or different signs now. Different signs means add or subtract.
Minus
So big number minus small,
6.
and then more negatives, more positives.
More positive.
And that's why the answer is +6. That's how you do them all. Thanks. What's up, Missy? All right, thank you for being honest. All right. This is a review. Do you see that we're doing subtraction? If we were doing addition, what would it look like? That literally right there would be a plus, not a minus. So we're doing subtraction. So the subtraction rule says, rewrite the first number, rewrite it. We just rewrite whatever it's
This
got.
is easy. It's just a really complex way to get.
We change the first minus sign, two numbers were positive. Now we messed with that one, we messed with this one, we write the opposite of the second one. Which would be 8. Now we follow the addition rules. Addition rules are the same sign, different sign, same or different sign. So add or subtract. Same, different. By the way, every one of these subtraction problems turns to addition problems. It brings back to addition problems. Same as add, different, subtract. So same or different. Big minus small. No, just look at the two numbers. One name technically taking the opposite of that. So we're just looking at the
That's 13.
yeah. Subtract. Negative small.
Why is it?
All of these are. Here ones will have to write.
So now I'm happy.
No, that's
Why even use?
you're wrong.
You wrote that one.
Like I just played 4,000 and it's like, and we did like you have no business zero or anything.
Simple. But Noah needs to do 10 push-ups
What does Noah need to do 10
because he wants a pencil.
Oh. But Mr. Sherry,
Yeah.
are you sure you don't have any other practice?
I do, but let's think about this. Did you get them all right?
Yes.
So you tell me, do you need more practice?
Yeah.
I mean, they wouldn't do it.
Okay. I can
Yes,
talk
so
about
do I.
it. Yeah? All right. Give me a second, I'll make one up. All right, let's see. E-learners, any questions?
Yeah.
All right, we are going to finish the worksheet.
Yeah, you can scratch that. Sorry, never mind. I think I'm good.
All right,
You're gonna take a nap.
we're not gonna take a nap.
What? I need it.
Mathematical